So hey guys, it's me Anime What If and this is our new series What If Kakashi hates Naruto during Chunin exam. If you like this type of content, so don't forget to like and subscribe our channel and let's get started.
He said as he tried to pin her to the bed to only have hold of a pillow. The seasoned Kunoichi using a well-timed substitution, but her distraction didn't last long enough for her to escape as Naruto was immediately upon her, hugging her from behind. "Now, I have you in my clutches," he said, starting to gentle move his hands across her body and kissing her neck, at the collarbone. "Oh, whatever shall I do? Tou-chan, breakfast. Harumph. Why can't he be cute and quiet like Himawari? He's too much like you." "I suppose so. Let me go feed him before he gets any louder." Naruto, Boruto and Himawari were enjoying themselves in the part when the Anbu and Hinata arrived. Naruto felt the chakra signatures approaching but wasn't concerned. He didn't sense any negative emotions from any of the parties. That changed when he was told why they were there. Apparently Jiraiya and Tsunade needed him to meet them at a location outside of the village. It wasn't too far away, especially for him, but he was curious why Jiraiya hadn't just sent a toad but had no time to dwell on it. Giving a kiss to each of his family members, with Boruto exclaiming that big boys don't need such a thing, not even on the top of their heads, Naruto took off. He started getting concerned as he was closing in on the appointed location. Instead of the two signatures he was expecting, he felt five. One was incredibly large, about as large as his was when he was 18. Another was familiar but really weak, and the last was large for what felt like a child. When he arrived at the clearing, he immediately saw Tsunade, Jiraiya and Kisame, but knew the other two members of the party were behind them. He had no clue as to why Kisame would be there. None of this made sense. It got even more confusing when a child emerged from behind the adults and darted toward him, executing a flying tackle, much to the shock of those present. Instinctively he caught the little girl. His confusion hadn't allowed him to really take a look at her, but now that she was in his arms he saw something distress. Eyes, blue like his. Two whisker marks on each cheek and long, stringy blonde hair. "Hi, I'm Izumi," she said with a shy smile. "Hi, Izumi-chan," he said, still not able to fully process what he's seeing. "Naruto, we need to talk to you and, you aren't going to be happy, but let us explain fully," Tsunade said. Naruto could only nod. Nothing made sense, no conclusion could come from the evidence he had, things he knew to be true, until the last member of the group revealed herself. How? Was all he managed to get out, but truthfully he had so many questions. How is she alive? Why did she allow him to think she was dead? Why did she keep his child from him? Why did Jiraiya and Tsunade help? Did they know, and if so, how long? He was overwhelmed, he couldn't process it all. He didn't know if he should be happy or livid, and sure as hell couldn't manage to do both. He didn't even realize the few tears that had fallen from his eyes, all of this too much for his heart. He'd mourned his first love and with effort and a good deal of patience from Hinata managed to move on, but she was alive the entire time. Alive, but from the feel of her chakra, not well, at least not now. Every adult could see the war happening inside of Naruto as he tried to process all of this. "Before we begin, maybe you should escort Izumi to the village with a shadow clone." Naruto nodded and created a clone seamlessly, handing his daughter off to the construct. "Wait," she said, getting out of the grasp of the clone and running toward Itachi, tears pouring down her face. "Can't you stay? We talked about this, my time has come, but you won't be alone, and as long as you keep me in your heart, I'm never really gone, right?" "Right. Besides, you have some younger siblings and you want to impress them, right?" "Hi. Then dry your eyes, this isn't a sad day, sweetie. Remember, this isn't goodbye. Just goodbye for now." Itachi smiled at her daughter before poking her in the forehead with her index and middle finger. The girl, in turn, smiled and returned to the clone. All watched as the pair depart, waiting for them to be out of earshot before they continued. "I was reversed summoned by the crows. That's how I survived Sasuke's jutsu." "That's it? You were reversed summoned and never thought to let me know you weren't dead?" "No. I had things in motion with the assumption I'd have died. I saw no reason to change course." "No reason? None at all? Because I was just holding one. And how did you rope Ba-chan and Pervy Sage into this? Matter of fact, why didn't either of you tell me? I couldn't. She was my patient, which I agreed to before I knew who the patient was. But I couldn't break privilege, not even for you. And what about you, Kyofu? She convinced me it was for the best. The world was headed towards peace, but it still needed you, and that couldn't happen if you were distracted with your missing nin girlfriend. That was my fucking choice, Jiraiya. Even if it was, we couldn't take the risk you'd make the wrong one. So you let me think she was dead. You saw how messed up I was and you let it happen. Was your prophecy so important you'd ignore everything else? No, it wasn't about the prophecy. You know what she sacrificed. She made a request on how she wanted to live her last years. It may hurt, but I felt she was owed this. It wasn't easy and I hated how much pain you were in, but I stand by my decision. Oh, how honorable, Jiraiya. What about Izumi? Didn't I have a right to know her, for the first decade of her life to not be something I'm told about? Naruto was interrupted as Itachi had a sudden coughing fit. He was still angry, but seeing the once powerful Kunoichi so frail made his concern override it. Creating another shadow clone to leave with the other three, Naruto quickly picked Itachi up in a bridal carry and darted off. They needed to talk alone. So, Izumi-chan, tell me a little about yourself, he said while carrying her on his back toward the village. I like Pocky, but Ka-chan won't let me eat much even though I know she sneaks some. I like to water plants. I want to be a kunoichi like Ka-chan, and I'm okay with shuri kenjutsu and taijutsu, but I prefer ninjutsu. I know some Sweden from Kisame Oji-san, but I wasn't allowed to learn more because I didn't practice chakra control enough. Chakra control exercises are the worst. They are. But Tsunade Baan says it's important. It is. A lot of shinobi skills can be improved when you get better control of your chakra. So what else? Jiraiya Oji-san taught me some fuinjutsu, but not much. He says you're better at it, so it'd be best to learn from you. I'm pretty okay, I must admit. Most important thing is learning the basic, perfect calligraphy and imagination. Hi. The pair move in silence for a while, Naruto finding it difficult to speak as there's a lump in his throat. Izumi-chan, I want you to know I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm sure your Ka-chan had her reasons, but if I'd known I'd been there for you, no matter what. Hi, Ka-chan explained it. She says you have a hero's heart. That's why you can connect with people, but if you knew about us you wouldn't want to be a hero anymore and instead focus on us. She said that with your help the world was becoming more like she'd always dreamed it'd be, but in exchange we had to sacrifice time away from you. Oh, is that what she said? Hi. Well, I don't know about being a hero, kiddo. Didn't you fight an alien on the moon to rescue a princess? More or less. Sounds pretty heroic to me, Too-san. I suppose it does. Hey, would you like to know a little bit about your brother and sister? Hi. Well, first, there's Bolt. He looks a lot like me, so I guess he looks a lot like you too, but don't tell him that. He's sensitive about looking girly. He's a bit loud and very enthusiastic. I have enough strength left to burn you with an Amaterasu. I am not produced that you just pick up and carry, Naruto Uzumaki. Itachi said as Naruto sat her down on a cliff in an out-of-the-way mountainside. No, what you are is the most vexing woman to ever exist. Make me understand, Itachi. Why hide from me? A lot of reasons, some of which we'd gone over. But it was partially because I didn't want to watch you watch me wither away. I wouldn't have cared, I'd been there for you. I know you would have, but I wouldn't have been me, that person you respected or that inspired you. I would have been something frail. I didn't want to make you my nurse. I know it was selfish, wanting to protect your image of me, but I just couldn't let you see me like this day in and day out. Or, worst yet, watch you obsessed to try to find a solution when there wasn't one and then see a piece of you die as you convince yourself you were failing me. Neither of those were appealing, especially the idea of you putting your life on hold. You gave me 10 more years than I was supposed to have, and you gave me a beautiful little girl, and I could give you nothing in return. Itachi, all I ever wanted was you. I didn't need anything else. But what about after I was gone? I don't know, I would have had to figure something out, but you didn't need to socially engineer a preferred outcome. Why not? Aren't you happy with Hinata? Very much so. Good, then you wound up with the only other person that loved you as much as I did. If I couldn't be here to support you, to watch you become Hokage, I wanted you to be with someone that could share in that experience, to be your strength when you needed it. Naruto could only sigh. Itachi had such a convoluted way of thinking, and it often centered on doing right by those she cared about while inflicting a good amount of pain on herself. She was a genius of a kunoichi and utterly unsuited for the shinobi lifestyle, as it just twisted her in knots. He was awash in so many conflicting emotions about what she did, but he knew she took no pleasure in it, truly trying to do what she felt was right. The two sat in silence as they watched the sun start its daily descent. It was reminiscent of the times she sat with him at the park, when he was just a lonely little boy with virtually no contact, but her mere presence could comfort him and soothe his wounded soul. It also reminded him of their time in Uzushio and how during the shinobi world's greatest threat, these two found a moment of true honesty and intimacy with each other. It was bittersweet, as much of their history was, but it was theirs. And now, 10 years later, the first woman he ever loved is with him again. The mother of his oldest child, his inspiration and guiding light, and it was almost overwhelming to think this time would truly be the last he'd see of her. To have her for a brief moment only to lose her again, it felt reductive to call it cruel. A relationship built on bad timing and best intentions, as if fate itself conspired against them. Sensing he was becoming increasingly distraught, Itachi turned toward Naruto, cupping his cheeks so he'd face her as well, and kissed him. It was not a kiss filled with searing passion, nor one of tender melancholy. It was reassuring, a sign he'd be okay. Leaning against his forehead, she felt her end nearing, and with the last of her strength Itachi spoke her final words. "Goodbye, my love. No, just goodbye for now. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.